Okay. The next item on the agenda, Public Service District funding for County Water Master Plan.
Last year, we spent a lot of the year doing research and gathering information, and we talked with Region 6 Planning and Development Council. We talked with the West Virginia Rural Water Association. We talked with at least 2 or 3 other PSDs and several engineering firms. Everybody recommended having a county master plan for water. We've had various studies done, from relatively small to one that included about half the county, but we don't have information for the whole county. So they recommended we try to get our arms around all that and what wasn't covered before. To achieve that, we went after well, the reason for it is you have everything laid out. You know your demographics. You know a little bit about demand, supply, cost, and available funding sources that way for everywhere. So to achieve the countywide net effect there, we went through an extensive request for qualifications process to identify qualified engineering firms. We came out of that process with E.L. Robinson, and we've negotiated an approved scope of work with them, and it includes incorporating data from past studies. Some of those were quite expensive, so we want to utilize everything we can out of this. Reviewing economic development potential and what impact water will have on availability will have on that, so on and so forth. The scope is attached in greater detail on the second page there. So we all 3 of the board members, Dave Kimball's out of town, but Dolores is here with me today, and we've all 3 reached consensus that this is a really necessary step in getting to be aggressive about getting the water out. But I'd like to invite, have Eric Coverly, Ryan Halls, and Randall Lewis from Robinson here, if you would give us just a couple of minutes to let them kind of explain how this works and to our advantage in the future. I would like to give them a minute or 2.
Okay.
Eric Coverly with E.L. Robinson Engineering. Basically, we've outlined the scope of work, but the process that we're going to go through is we're going to look at all the available sources of water. We're going to look at all the demographics as far as the potential customers. And the bottom line on this type of study that we're going to do is a project-driven study, in that we're going to try to define areas of priority for the PSD where we can have projects lined up. We'll evaluate also potential areas of funding through the, whether it be RUS block grants or, RUS, any other type of funding that's out there, ARC grants, whatever is available, and match that up with demographics in the county. So it's going to be a broad-based look at the demographics, look at the census data, look at the water sources, and basically come up with different actual projects to have in place that when funding becomes available, we hit that. And the same way with what he mentioned as far as economic development too. If there's an economic development project, be able to focus on that as well. But it is a project-driven, priority-based type study.
So we are respectfully requesting $125,000 to support this work. Do you have questions of myself, PSD or E.L. Robinson?
How did you arrive at the 125 cost?
We negotiated the scope of work and started then negotiating costs back and forth to get there. So we point out that the one study that was done that they'll use some of the data from was 500,000. So we feel that not only is it a necessary step, but we feel it's reasonable for their work to be.
And we had bids on this?
the process is you do the request for qualifications, you rate your top 3 or 4 firms, and you start negotiating with your top one. I mean, obviously, if they'd wanted $1 million or something, we'd have went to number 2 or whatever, but we felt that it was reasonable for the scope of services.
Betsy, is that, I mean, will that cause any problems with the bidding process? If you understand my question?
Yeah.
Well, the PSD, I mean, we've been walked through this with Public Service Commission and Region 6. So, I mean, the process for PSD was strictly adhered to.
Okay. Okay.
It's,
I don't think
yeah.
it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be a problem for the commission if the commission is just giving them the money for
Okay.
it, since they've already done
Okay, I just,
their part.
I want to make sure that,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
we're covered. You have any questions, Ron?
I mean, you want to vote on it tonight, Herky, or just wait until?
Whatever your inclination is to do. I mean, that's up to you.
I think that Ralph needs to be here too. You know, it's a lot of money to spend, you know, with all 3 of us not thinking about it. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Yes, I want you to vote on it tonight, but that sounds very reasonable,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't hesitate to go on.
Well, let's do it this way. Mr. Sandora indicated in a message that he was stuck at that point in time, whatever time the message came in, he was stuck at the DMV, and he would be here. So he will be here before the meeting's over, we're assuming. So if we just want to, if it's not a problem with you, we'll just table the decision or a vote until later. We'll just reschedule the vote for one of the latter items on the agenda.
Okay.
So I hate for you to have to stick around, but like Ronnie said, he should be involved.
We can, that's fine, yeah.
Okay.
I agree, yes.
Okay. Okay, that's
Thank
fine. We will just reschedule that for later during this meeting.